That was Rimsky-Korsakov's Flight of the Bumblebee, a piece which was recently performed to a live audience on TV by a 6-year-old boy called Tsong Tsong. Tsong Tsong could play the piano when he was 3. At the age of 5, an internet clip with him at the piano made him famous. Now, he says he wants to be able to play like Mozart. Our question today is, do we have to start young to succeed? We've all heard about kids like Tsong Tsong, bright kids who have a particular ability in, say, music, maths or science. But do they grow up to be successful adults? And if you're over 30 and you haven't achieved your goals yet, is it too late? Ed Bickley's been looking into it for us. Ed, what have you found out?
OK, well, clearly some talented children go on to do very well as adults. Take Lionel Messi. He started playing football on the street at the age of 5. Soon, he was playing against much older boys, and they couldn't get the ball off him. He was so good that he was able to join the Barcelona junior team when he was 11 and achieved international success at 20. Now he's one of the greatest players in the world.
A real success story.
Yes, but what's surprising is that most of these talented children, when they grow up, don't actually achieve much more than other adults. A recent study followed a group of talented children from 1974 until now. Less than 5% managed to become very successful adults.
That does seem surprising.
And now for the good news. If you haven't achieved your goals by the time you're 30, don't give up. Plenty of people have found success much later in life. British fashion designer Vivienne Westwood's first job was in teaching. She always wanted to be a designer, but her successful fashion career didn't begin until she was 30, when she started making clothes for a shop in London called Let It Rock. Then there's Andrea Bocelli. He's been able to sing well since he was a child, but he didn't become a famous classical singer until he was 36. At 41, his album became the most successful classical album by a solo artist of all time, with 5 million copies sold around the world.
So to do well at something, we don't have to be good at it at a young age?
That's right. In most cases, talent develops with experience. You need to practice, make mistakes, get frustrated, learn from your mistakes, practice more. It's hard work. You need a lot of patience, a lot of determination. Confidence and a positive attitude help too. Say to yourself, I can do it. And just maybe you will. And don't worry if your 10-year-old child can't play the piano. Maybe they'll be able to do it when they're a bit older.
Ed, you've given us all hope. Thank you very much.
Well, my friends would probably say I'm an extrovert because I'm very sociable. In social situations like a party or something, I'm usually really outgoing, talkative. And I like to have a lot of fun, and I usually joke around with people and so on. I don't mind being on my own if it's not for too long, but after a while I start feeling bored. I definitely need people to talk to. But on the other hand, I definitely have my introverted side too, I think I'm basically quite a shy person. I certainly worry a lot about what people think of me. Maybe that's why I cover it up by talking a lot. And I'm really scared of speaking to an audience. I hate it if I have to give a presentation in class or give a speech. That makes me feel really nervous, feeling like everyone's looking at me. I don't like that.
Alex. Oh, I'm definitely an introvert. I'm definitely a bit reserved with people I don't know well. I don't really give myself away much except with very close friends. Then I can sometimes be quite lively and fun to be with. People say I'm very good at telling jokes, actually. I don't enjoy parties much. I don't really know what to say to people. I'd much rather be doing something on my own, maybe reading a book or going for a long walk, or maybe just going out with a couple of friends. It probably sounds really boring, but I guess I'm basically a serious person and I'm also quite sensitive. I'd rather have an interesting conversation with someone, not just make small talk. And I suppose maybe that puts people off sometimes.
Part 1.
And these are the photos. You haven't seen the ones of our holiday, have you?
No, I haven't. Oh, wow, that's a great photo. That's the hotel you stayed in, isn't it?
Yes, and there's the beach. It was only a few metres from the hotel.
Wow, Becky, these are really good.
Thanks. I enjoyed taking them.
They're amazing. Actually, can I ask a big favour? You know I'm making a new website, don't you? Well, I need some photos of the shop for it. Do you think you could take them?
I'm not sure. I'm not a real photographer. It's just a hobby.
But I really love your pictures. Will you do it?
Well, if you're sure, I'd love to.
Great.
There we go.
Thank you. Thank you. So, Mark, Tom told me about your internet shopping mistake. You bought a child's desk instead of an adult one, didn't you?
It was an easy mistake to make. Could have happened to anyone. Anyway, it all turned out well in the end. Actually, I'm going to get the desk on Saturday.
Oh, do you need a hand? I'm sure Tom will help.
Oh, yeah. We need a bit of a muscle.
It would be great if you could, wouldn't it, Mark?
Yeah, I was wondering how I was going to move it on my own.
Why not? But could I ask you a favour in return, Rachel?
Yes, of course. What?
Oh, I'll tell you later.
Part 2.
So, what do you need?
Well, I'm going to ask Becky to marry me.
Wow, that is great news!
Thanks. But I wondered if you could come with me to buy the ring. I've never done this before, and I don't know where to start.
Yes, of course I could. Oh, that is brilliant!
What are you two gossiping about?
Oh, nothing.
Track 4.14. Sheena.
Last year I had some free time and a bit of money to spend. I'd always wanted to go walking and climbing in the Himalayas, but I didn't want to go on my own, and none of my friends wanted to go. So I found a website called Travel Groups where you can contact other people who want to go to the same places as you, and you can join up and go together as a group. Anyway, I found 3 other people to go with, and we all met in Delhi in North India, and we travelled together. It worked out really well. I think websites like this are a good idea because lots of people don't want to travel on their own, and it works as long as everyone's reasonably sociable. I'm quite self-confident, and I think I'm an extrovert, so I think I'm quite good at getting on with people and making friends.
Alia.
I had a few months off after university, so I looked on the internet for volunteer work and found a really good website for last-minute volunteer jobs called the Volunteer Community Project. It was good because you can arrange things straight away and they pay your fares and you get basic accommodation and food. You don't earn money, but you don't really spend much either. I went to London and worked there with young children from problem families. I didn't have any experience, but that doesn't matter. You just need to be able to get on with kids and understand what they need. I never realised before, but actually, it seems like I've got a natural talent for teaching children. So it was a really great experience, and now I've decided to train as a primary school teacher.
Brad.
I really needed to earn some money and I couldn't get a proper job. Someone told me about this website called Short Work, where people offer short jobs for a few days or a couple of weeks that they need doing, like helping out with things or fixing things for people. I'm quite good at things like that, and I know a bit about electricity and plumbing. I found this advert for a family who've got a large house and needed someone to do some basic work on it. So I went along and chatted to them, and they gave me the job. I think they could see that I was quite serious about it, and I was determined to work hard. It was really good. I was only there for 2 weeks, but in that time I managed to clear their garden, mend their garden fence, I painted 3 rooms for them, and I got their kitchen light working. So, not bad for 2 weeks' work.
This is my favourite animal, the orangutan. Unfortunately, this great ape is endangered. It's terrible that people are cutting down the trees in the area where it lives. If we're not careful, its home will be completely destroyed. Fortunately, there are several conservation projects working to save this beautiful creature.
The ice in the Arctic is melting. Some people say that the melting ice is natural, that human beings are not causing climate change. But we need to do something about it, and fast. The weather is getting stranger. Some scientists think that many species will not be able to survive if the temperature changes too much.
Pollution is a big problem here. The air is often like a dirty grey fog. You can hardly see what's in front of you. A lot of people are getting ill. The government needs to limit the number of cars and factories, but we can't do anything without the support of the local people. The problem is, everyone wants to drive.
Are they environmentally friendly in Costa Rica? Do they protect their rainforests and animals?
Well, yes, they do. The government is doing a lot, but it takes quite a long time for forests to recover if they've already been cut down. They'll probably grow back, but not immediately.
Are you going to work in the rainforests?
No, I'm not. I'll be by the sea. I'm going to work on a project that looks after turtles.
Turtles? That's very cool. But how do you look after turtles? I mean, what do you do?
Well, to be honest, I don't really know. Tomorrow I'm meeting someone who worked on the project, and she's going to tell me about the kinds of things I'm going to do.
So who else works on the project? Just people from overseas or local people too?
I'm not sure about that either. Perhaps I'll work with local people as well.
So, you're off to save the world. I think that's great.
Don't know about saving the world, but I'll definitely be able to save some turtles. And I'm going to make the most of my time in Costa Rica and learn some Spanish too.
Let me know how things go.
Sure. Actually, I'm going to keep a blog, so I'll write regular updates on the blog and you can follow that.
Good idea. I'm sure you'll have a great time.
Yeah, so am I.
I visited biologist Andrew Parker to find out more about how the natural world has inspired everyday objects. Andrew, hello. What's this little animal you've got here?
It's a thorny dragon lizard from the Australian desert. As you can see, it's quite small, about 20 centimetres long, but it's an amazing animal. You see, what I'm really interested in is what this little creature can teach us about collecting water.
OK.
So, as I said, this lizard lives in the desert in Australia, and as you know, it's an incredibly dry place. But this lizard manages to live there very successfully, and we've discovered one of the reasons for this. If the lizard puts a foot somewhere wet, even just a tiny, tiny bit wet, its skin pulls the water up and over its whole body. When the water reaches the lizard's mouth, it drinks it.
That's very clever.
Yes. On the lizard's skin, well, in fact, in the skin, we discovered there's like a system of very, very small pipes. So the skin collects the water and these pipes pull it towards the lizard's mouth.
That sounds really efficient.
Well, right, yeah. So, you see, we want to copy that system and use it in a device that collects water. If we are successful, the device will provide water for people who live in very dry environments.
That's fantastic.
And what other ideas have we taken from nature?
Engineers are doing a lot with robots these days. For example, there's the rescue robot. It's just like a spider because it moves on 8 legs, and so it can move very quickly and make itself very small. So these rescue robots will be able to help people who are stuck in small spaces, or who are trapped in buildings, for example, if there's an earthquake.
So they'll be able to help save lives?
Exactly. And then we're looking at seashells, which are very strong, but at the same time, they're very light. They don't weigh much at all. Scientists have discovered that seashells are made of lots of tiny blocks that fit together, but this makes them really hard to break. The plan is to copy this material to make safety equipment, such as gloves and helmets.
So this material will protect people like a shell protects a turtle?
That's right. And again, this could help save lives.
Hi.
Oh, hi, Becky.
How are you?
I'm fine, thanks.
So are you ready for your photo shoot?
Huh. I guess so.
The shop looks great.
Oh, that's because of Tina. She spent the morning cleaning up.
Well, she did a great job. So, Tina, are you going to be in the photos too?
No. I hate having my photo taken.
I see. Anyway, if you're ready...
Oh, make sure you get my good side.
You look great.
Thank you. So how do you want to do this?
Let me see. I think it would be best if I just take some natural shots of you looking busy with the flowers.
Okay.
That's really good.
Oh, shall I carry on?
Yes, that's great. So why did you become a florist?
Well, that's a good question. I've always loved flowers, ever since I was a little girl. So it seemed a natural thing for me to do. I think it's really important that you do something that you enjoy.
Fantastic. Yeah, it must be nice to have a job like yours. The freedom you have, and you can be creative, and you're your own boss.
You sound like you don't enjoy your job.
No, not at the moment. Not for a while, actually.
Really? What's wrong with it?
Oh, lots of things. For instance, all I seem to do is deal with other people's problems, like issues with their pay or holidays. And I hate being stuck inside an office all day, staring at the clock.
Oh dear.
I wish I had a job where I could travel the world, spread my wings, be free.
Such as?
I don't know. That's the problem.
Oh.
Lovely.
Can I see?
Sure. Here you go.
That's great.
Thank you.
Well, how about becoming a professional photographer? You're really good.
I don't know. Tina, how about a quick shot of you and Rachel together?
Do I have to?
Oh, go on. Just stand by Rachel for a moment.
So, look at this. There are loads of photography courses you can do. Photojournalism, for example, or portrait photography.
Thanks. That's great. But we're meant to be choosing which photos you want for your website.
Okay. But I just think it's something that you should consider.
Well, maybe. Let's look at the photos for now.
Hey, Becky, these are great.
Thank you.
I think this is the best one.
Rachel, we can't see you in that one.
Okay. Let me see. I think this one.
I'm on my way to Lane Cove, where between 20 and 30 whales have come ashore and can't get back out to sea again. When I get to Lane Cove, I'm meeting Sam Collins from the Marine Life Service. I'm going to help Sam and a team of local people to try and save these whales. Okay, I've just arrived and talked to Sam. It's quite cold, So I think I'll change into my wetsuit before going down onto the beach to work with other people who've come here to help these whales. So far, about 50 people have turned up and more are coming. If more people come, we'll have a chance of succeeding. So, I'm in a team of 4 people and we're looking after just one poor whale. Sam says it's female, and what we've done is we've covered her with wet towels and we're pouring buckets of water over her to keep her cool. We have to be careful where we put the towels. If we cover her blowhole, she won't be able to breathe. Sam says our whale's in good condition and he thinks she'll survive. The tide's coming in soon. I'm going to help dig up sand around the whale to make a hole. When the water comes in, it'll fill up the hole. Better get going. Yes! Success! The tide came in. Our whale floated again. There were about 5 of us. We pushed and she fought back a bit. Then she took off. What a great feeling. She's swimming back out to sea. I think she's going to be okay.
So, Bridget, are you going to tell me about your website? Are you working on it at the moment?
Yes, it's almost ready, but it isn't finished just yet.
And who's it for?
Well, you remember what I'm studying, don't you?
Yes. Well, you're studying French or Spanish or something, aren't you?
Well, sort of. I'm in the Latin American Studies department, so yes, I learn Spanish, but I also study history, culture, politics, all that kind of thing.
Oh, right. So the website is for the Latin American study students?
Yes, but not just for them. It's also for students of Spanish and for students from the World History department too. They're all going to use it. And all the information on it has to be in Spanish as well as English so that I can keep in touch with all the students I met at UNAM.
UNAM?
Oh, that's the name of the university in Mexico where I was studying.
Oh, I see. So are you writing everything in Spanish as well as English?
Yes. I'm completely exhausted.
I'm not surprised. That sounds like an absolutely enormous job.
Well, I'm not doing everything on my own. There's a Colombian girl, Monica. She's helping me to check my grammar and spelling and stuff.
Oh, okay. So what can I do to help?
Well, I'm not very good at web design, so would you have any time to look at it for me? I need someone to check that everything on the website is working properly.
Well, I'm a little busy.
You have to help me, Joe. You're my only hope.
Okay, I'll help you.
Wonderful. So, I've chosen the main photo for the website, but I thought maybe I could ask your opinion.
Sure, let's have a look.
Great. It's here on my iPad.
Wow, this is great. Where's this place?
It's called Chichen Itza.
Is that the name of the pyramid in the middle of the photo?
No, Chichen Itza's the name of the ancient city. The pyramid... I can't remember what the name of the pyramid is.
Well, anyway, it's a great photo for your website. It's got history and culture, and it just looks really cool.
Great. So, when can you help me with the design of the website? Do you have any time?
I'm moving to a new flat next week, but I don't know how to move all my things. Look at all these boxes.
How about just hiring a car?
No, that's too expensive.
What about ordering a taxi?
That's worth a try, but there are a lot of things here. We might need 3 trips in a taxi. That's not going to be cheap.
No, it isn't. Maybe you could try asking a friend to drive you.
I'll give it a try, but all my friends are students. Nobody has a car.
Oh, I know. Megan's mum has a flower shop and they have a van. You could put all your things in it and she could drive you to the new flat. Shall I ask her to help?
That's a great idea.
Cool. Hey, let's invite her for dinner tonight and we can ask her then.
Sure, why not?
Great. Could you go to the supermarket and get some food and I'll call her now?
OK. Thanks, Katie.
No problem, Daniel. You know what they say, 2 heads are better than 1.
I've lost my phone.
Oh no, how awful.
I've been looking for it everywhere. I'm sure I had it when I got home.
What about checking in your bag?
OK. No, it isn't in there.
OK, so it isn't in your bag. Have you tried phoning your number from another phone?
That's a great idea. I'll give it a try. Can I borrow your phone for a minute?
Yes, sure, here you are.
Oh, listen, it's ringing. It's behind that cushion on the sofa.
That's brilliant. I'm so pleased. So, Carlos, how was your journey this morning? Did you drive or...
Oh, it was fine, thank you. I came by train from London.
I see. Right. Well, let's start, shall we? To begin with, I'll ask you a few questions about your CV and your education, your work experience and so on. And then Stephen is going to talk to you about the job. OK? Any questions so far?
No, everything is fine so far, thank you.
Great. OK, so can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Yes, of course. So I'm 23 years old and I have just recently completed a university course in computer science. And that was in London, where I've been living for the last 3, in fact almost 4 years now. Before coming to England, I was at school in Spain.
Ah, yes, that's right. I see from your CV that you went to high school in Madrid.
Yes, although I was actually born in San Francisco. But when I was 14, I moved to Spain to live with my grandparents, who are from Madrid.
Ah, so you were a Spanish speaker then?
Yes, and as well as English and Spanish, I also speak German. That's because of my father. He's an engineer from Düsseldorf.
I see. That's very impressive. As you may already know, this company has offices in several different European countries, so we're keen to find people who can speak at least one other language as well as English.
Well, that's good. I'd like the chance to use my languages.
OK. Now, in your opinion, why should this organisation choose you for this job?
That's a very good question. Well, first of all, I'm a people person. I'm very friendly, and so I have a real ability to work in a team. Specialist knowledge is important, but you also need to be able to explain ideas simply and clearly. And that's something that I think I've learned in the job I do now. And I think it's been a good experience for this job.
And why's that, may I ask? We don't really meet any customers in this job.
True. But I soon learned that the best way to sell a phone wasn't to talk about all the technical things, it was to show people the apps. I discovered that I could sell more phones if I used clear and simple language to explain how to use them. So for almost 3 years now, I've been staying up to date on all the most popular apps and selling more phones than anyone else.
Very interesting. OK, now, Stephen.
Thank you. OK, so my talk tonight is called Psychology in Advertising. But I'm going to start with a little story. In the 18th century, Germany was divided into lots of different countries, and one of these was called Prussia, and the king there was called Frederick II. Now, this particular king was a really very talented man. In fact, he was so brilliant that he is still known as Frederick the Great. OK, so at that time, the 1770s, hardly anyone in Prussia ate potatoes, because the main meal for almost everyone was bread. But there was a problem with bread. In those days, sometimes the wheat didn't grow very well, or it grew, but then it died before people could make bread from it. And every time that happened, people, especially poor people, would have nothing to eat. So when Frederick heard about the potato, he thought, "Ha-ha! Perfect! If the people can grow these potatoes as well as bread, then no one will ever be hungry again." Frederick was so satisfied with this idea that he immediately ordered everyone in the country to start growing potatoes. But to his surprise, they refused. They simply would not touch these potatoes. The people of Kolberg sent Frederick a letter, telling him that potatoes were so disgusting that even their animals couldn't eat them. Now, Frederick was a very intelligent man, and although there were no psychologists in 1774, he certainly had a talent for understanding the psychology of his people. So he soon came up with a very interesting plan. First, he planted potatoes in a big field, which he called the Royal Potato Garden. Next, because it was not just any potato garden, but the Royal Potato Garden, he sent soldiers to guard it. As soon as people saw the garden and the soldiers, they started asking each other, what could be in that field that is worth so much? And of course, as soon as they found out that the field was full of potatoes, they all wanted some. It was not long afterwards that people started going to the field at night to steal potatoes. Frederick, of course, had expected this to happen. In fact, he had even given secret instructions to his soldiers to pretend that they had not seen the potato thieves and actually let them steal the potatoes, because that was what Frederick had wanted to happen. There is an important lesson here for people about psychology in advertising. When Frederick told people they would never be hungry again if they ate potatoes, they were not interested. When Frederick ordered them to grow potatoes, they refused. But when people believed that they were not allowed to eat potatoes, and that they were only eaten by kings and queens, then they immediately wanted to have them. And that's good psychology.